The year is 9 AD, autumn. A heavy chill clings to the ancient trees of the Teutoburg forest. Germania, a land Rome thought it could tame. The forest is a tangled wilderness. Towering oaks block out the sun. The ground is a maze of mud and marsh. Mist coils around the trunks. Rain turns tracks into rivers of mud. For Roman soldiers, this is a world away from Italy. Their sandals slip, shields grow heavy, and their famous formations break apart. Forced into a long, vulnerable line, the legions march through suffocating woods. Every shadow seems to hold a threat. The forest feels alive and hostile. The 17th, 18th, and 19th legions, with cavalry and a massive baggage train, crawl north. They are a city on the move, but here their power feels fragile. Red cloaks and polished helmets are a jarring slash of colour in endless green. They are intruders, and the forest knows it. The air is thick with foreboding. These are Rome's best soldiers, hardened by years of war, carrying the eagle standards. But they have never faced an enemy like this, the land itself. The forest is not just a backdrop, it is a weapon. As they march deeper, they walk into a trap. Few will return. The forest is a silent, deadly ally to the Germanic tribes. Rome's discipline and might are useless here. The land, the weather, and the trees are all against them. The Romans are not conquering. They are being swallowed. The stage is set for disaster. The forest waits. The trap is closing. And Rome is blind to the danger. Rome, at its peak under Augustus, sought to push its borders from the Rhine to the Elbe. The man in charge, Publius Quinctilius Varus, a bureaucrat, not a general. Varus saw Germania as another province to manage, not a land of proud, dangerous warriors. His greatest mistake, underestimating the people and the land. At his side was Arminius, a Cherusci prince raised in Rome, fluent in Latin and a decorated Roman officer. To Varus, Arminius was the perfect advisor, trusted, loyal, and a symbol of Rome's civilizing mission. But Arminius was playing a double game. He saw Roman arrogance and the resentment it bred. While he smiled at Varus, he was secretly uniting the tribes. He knew Rome's strengths and its fatal weaknesses. Arminius plotted rebellion, using his knowledge of both worlds. He chose the Teutoburg forest as the perfect place to strike. Varus trusted him completely. The stage was set for betrayal. Rome's confidence would be its undoing. The trap was ready. Arminius waited for the perfect moment, and Varus never saw it coming. Arminius moved between worlds, Roman ally by day, rebel leader by night. He attended Varus's councils, reinforcing the illusion of peace. In secret, he rallied the Cherusci, Marsi, Chatti, and other tribes, urging unity against Rome. Old feuds were set aside for a common cause, freedom. The plan was bold, no open battle, but a trap in the forest. Arminius needed a reason for Varus to march into danger. He fabricated a report of a tribal uprising. Varus took the bait, planning a detour to crush the rebellion. The conspiracy was perfectly timed, perfectly hidden. The Roman legions would march into the woods thinking they were in control. In reality, they were walking into Arminius's snare. The betrayal was set in motion. Varus led his army off the safe road and into the Teutoburg forest. 3 legions, auxiliaries, and a massive baggage train stretched for miles, a vulnerable serpent in the woods. The terrain was brutal, muddy tracks, rain-soaked ground, and dense trees. The columns slowed to a crawl, discipline breaking down. Orders were lost in the chaos, visibility was poor. The weather turned worse, driving rain, howling wind, freezing cold. Soldiers struggled, soaked and exhausted. The forest pressed in, command and control evaporated. Arminius knew every inch of this land. The Romans were not marching. They were stumbling into a killing ground. Every step, every delay was part of Arminius's plan. The column was no longer an army, but a target. The forest hid thousands of waiting warriors. The Romans were surrounded, but didn't know it. The trap was about to spring. A final warning reached Varus. Segestes, Arminius's own father-in-law, revealed the plot. Varus dismissed it as petty rivalry, blinded by arrogance and trust in Arminius. He could not imagine betrayal from his trusted adviser. The Roman belief in their own superiority sealed their fate. Arminius and the other chieftains left the column, claiming to gather support. In truth, they went to lead the ambush. The Romans marched on, oblivious. The last chance to avoid disaster was lost. The trap was now inevitable. The attack erupted without warning. Germanic warriors rained javelins and arrows from hidden ramparts. The Roman line, stretched and disorganized, was thrown into chaos. They couldn't form a shield wall or fight as a unit. The forest became a killing field, Romans cut down by unseen enemies. Centurions' orders vanished in the storm and screams. The tribes struck, then melted into the trees. By nightfall, Roman losses were catastrophic. The survivors huddled in a makeshift camp, surrounded and desperate. The ambush was just beginning, a 3-day nightmare. The next days were pure horror. The Romans, starving and wounded, fought for survival. Discipline collapsed. Men fought in scattered groups. The sacred eagle standards became rallying points, then fell one by one. Officers, including Varus, chose suicide over capture. The army disintegrated. Mercy was rare. A handful escaped, wounded and traumatized, to tell the tale. The legions were gone, wiped out in the forest. Rome would never forget the disaster. News of the disaster stunned Rome. 3 legions lost, their eagles captured. Augustus was devastated. The Rhine frontier was suddenly exposed. The dream of conquering Germania died overnight. Rome sent reinforcements, but expansion stopped at the Rhine. Germanicus led revenge campaigns, recovered 2 eagles, and buried the dead. But the lesson was clear. Germania would never be tamed. The lost legions' numbers were never used again. The battle scarred Rome's psyche, a warning against arrogance and underestimating the enemy. Even the greatest empires have limits. The Teutoburg forest was Rome's humbling.